Hello, welcome back to my channel. Do you want to draw with me? Let's go. Let's draw some. We're just going to doodle. Just going to doodle for a little bit. It's going to be nice and chill. I don't really have a plan for this video, but I got this fancy new camera and we're testing it out. And I have to make a video because I told myself if I bought this camera, we're going to make a bunch of videos. I'm going to try and do like a video or two a week, just like this one, where I'm just drawing. So you can see we got my crappy Bic pen. I shouldn't say crappy. Just a cheap Bic pen, sketch pad, cheap sketch pad. Nothing fancy. I got my coffee. And we're ready to rock. We are absolutely ready to tear this up, and I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan for what I'm going to draw. I just wanted to draw in general, and that's honestly probably my biggest philosophy when it comes to art is it doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that you do. If I die and somebody's looking for a quote and they want to quote me some way or another, I want that to be the quote. Okay? You hear me, family? He always used to say, it doesn't matter what you do, simply that you do. So for me, I'm a painter. I'm an artist. I draw. So it doesn't matter what I draw, just that I draw. It's more important that I draw. It's not that the content or the concept or the subject matter of your art isn't important. It totally is. But if you're just trying to produce more, like if you're kind of suffering from maybe it's artist block or just lack of motivation, I think this principle is probably the only thing you should even be worried about. How do I get to that point where I am drawing anything at all? It's way less important when you're in that space of artist block, lacking creativity. It's way more important that you get going, that you take action, that you start doing something. That's way more important than what you're even doing. So eventually, you know, when you establish yourself as a working artist, you're going to want to start kind of crafting a message maybe, and using art for its greatest potential of being, you know, a mobilizer of society, of culture. But at first, when you're starting out or when you're going through a rough patch, it's way more important to establish the habit, to become a daily creator, if you will, or at least a more routine creator. You don't have to put the pressure of doing something every day on yourself if that's not where you're at. For me, that is where I'm at. So I do my daily morning doodles, if you will, where I just spend maybe 10 minutes on a drawing. And if you're subscribed to me, you've definitely seen these before. I usually post one a day because I'll do a time lapse of that. And that's like a whole other layer of my goals of creating content. But as an artist, specifically, just practicing my craft and working on that lifelong journey of being a creative and developing skills throughout the course of my life. You know, just drawing in general, regardless of the filming, is important for me to establish that habit. It's almost like a gratitude practice of you have this gift, and so if you don't use it, then you're I don't know, almost slapping God in the face, slapping the universe in the face. And I'm not even trying to give you more ammunition to be self-critical and be hard on yourself. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm just saying it's almost like a form of worship of God, of the universe, paying your respect by being like, hey, I see you. I am aware that I have this gift that you've given me. Whether you're a believer in God in the biblical sense or not, or even in like a personified being that is doing the action of creating, in creating humanity and this physical realm that we're familiar with, or that we contextualize in order to define and describe and to actualize our existence in this world. I don't know where I'm at with that. I'm undoubtedly, not undoubtedly, but I'm for sure a believer. I'm on the team of belief as far as God is concerned. There's something. There's something greater than us. It's impossible for me to deny, regardless of whatever negative habits I slip into, throughout the day and the week and as time goes on. Like I acknowledge that I am a sinner. I do like that aspect of Christianity, although I will say that the individuals within Christianity, in my experience, have had the tendency to go overboard with that sinner theory, and they'll use that in leverage against other Christians or even non-Christians. They will leverage that and be like, we're all sinners, you're a sinner, you need to repent, and they'll kind of use that against you. And that's where I draw the line. I'm not really into that. I think the utility of acknowledging your sinful nature is simply to understand the deepest depths that humanity can plunge to. But in contrast, I also believe that us humans have the ability to access Christ-like consciousness and states of being. So, although we are sinners, and I acknowledge that, myself definitely included in that, I'll be the first to tell you, I also think that Jesus Christ meant for us to be like him in the very literal sense of the words. Now, I'm not saying that we will do that. I'm not saying that we should hold ourselves to that standard whenever we inevitably fail to do so, but it's good to have that goal. Why not aim for the highest? Why not aim for the highest upper echelon of what a human can be? Because then at the very least you'll fall somewhere short and at least be in a pretty good spot. It's better than walking around aimlessly. People that claim that there is no such thing as higher power and God or whatever, I just think that's kind of baloney. It's like, well, then what's the point? Like, genuinely, what is the point? How do you, if you're an atheist, and this is not, I'm not trying to like make things uncomfortable for you or hostile. Like, I'm not accusing people or trying to claim what's right and wrong. Actually, I think that's a flaw in a lot of philosophy, is settling on an answer in any way, whereas I'm more of a scientific person that is indefinitely striving to find the truth for the sake of the pursuit of the truth and not being content in any resolution. This is getting really heady really fast. Sorry if I'm losing you. What I was going to say to the atheists, how do you, it's a genuine question. I'm not trying to gaslight or accost anybody. How do you not kill yourself? Like, what makes you live? What propels you to take the next breath? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not stating that there is no reason. Maybe you've found another reason. Maybe it's, science or some other explanation. And I will make a statement that I could reduce whatever you're going to say to a definition of God. And I think the biggest thing holding back the connection or preventing a connection between avid believers such as myself and people that would consider themselves atheists is the very definition of God. That's what's holding us back. It's that one side is assuming a definition and the other side is assuming their definition, and they may or may not align. I'm sure there are some Christians out there that are like really Bible thumpers, believing everything the Bible says is verbatim truth, and not so symbolic. It's actually literal historic fact. I'm not in that camp. And there are atheists that believe that's the definition of God too, the God of Abraham that, unleashed his wrath unto the Israelites and the Egyptians and everybody else. And, I think it's more symbolic than that. And that's not where this conversation really is going. I need to probably get back on track and stop talking about such heady topics. But if you want me to touch base on this topic in the future, if you like anything that I'm saying, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you believe. Are you a believer? No judgment either way. I'm of the opinion that we just don't have everything figured out in this life. We're just humans. This is a school of earth. We're just learning, And to claim an absolute truth one way or the other, I feel like it's hard not to seem ignorant. And I'm not even saying you can't be a believer and have that faith in an absolute way in your own mind. That's how I would describe myself. I even say I don't believe in atheists. One, because that's ironic, because they're the ones saying they don't believe, and two, because I like humor. Two, because my belief in God and what I define God to be is just kind of an inevitability. It's an experienced, lived truth. I just can't deny it for myself, at all. So, no, I'm not even saying I'm without doubt. There are times where I'm probably borderline suicidal. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that I doubt the existence of something greater. It's just in those moments I'm probably just really disconnected from that something greater. And that's really the goal, is how to stay connected. There's different tools. Meditation, drawing is a form of meditation for sure. Accessing the flow state, that's you're in it, boy. You're in it. You are not thinking of anything else material. You're just in the flow, in union with the unlimited possibilities of the universe, and such is art. I think artists have the greatest potential, and that's why I'm not afraid to talk about spiritual things, because in my opinion, art and spirituality are one. It's synonymous. It's a method. Art is a method for which you can attain spiritual well-being. It's a good practice to enrich your spiritual experience. I think artists, more than any other vocation of humans, have a unique power in harnessing that flow and harnessing energy. We're energy workers, artists at their best. Now, I'm not saying, there are artists out there that are atheists. This is just my point of view. There are artists out there that are atheists and are just purely focused on form and the technique of art, being a technician of art. And there's value in that. I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying I think that the greatest potential of an artist is to access the spiritual realm and to document our experiences of consciousness. It's one of the reasons I like doing faces so much, is because it's the expression of emotion, which I think is a spiritual experience in its own. And I don't know, maybe I don't really truly understand what I'm trying to say, but I'm working through it. That's part of these videos, you know, part of the drawing process as a whole. It's self work, you know. We're meditating by connecting to our body when we're manipulating our hand to move across the paper with this pen in my hand. And this is kind of just, this is what I like to talk about. This is what I like to geek out about. Matters of the spirit, matters of human consciousness, what makes us unique among the animal kingdom, certainly is consciousness, among other things. Um, you know, we have immense brain power, for better or worse. Like sometimes that can feel like a hindrance. And other animals, I look at my cat and she seems to relax easier than I do, you know, and I'm kind of jealous of that. And it's probably because of her lack of consciousness. She's not able to worry about things on the level that I am. And I think that's interesting, and I think it's worth exploring. I like doing psychedelics for that reason, because it kind of puts you in a different state of consciousness. It's a mind-altering substance, such as even, you know, THC, marijuana. I'm sober right now, but I do like smoking weed. Psilocybin, mushrooms, for sure. Ayahuasca was one of the more profound experiences I've had in my life. Did that a couple years ago with my fiance Amanda. And these are just things that open up your mind. They make you think differently. They kind of force you to do deep work. They force you to think about your life in an abstracted way that you don't normally do. It forces you outside of your comfort zone. It's not fun. Psychedelics are not fun. And I'm not telling anybody to do this. We're all on our own path, right? So, like, I'm not going to think you're cool or not, whether you've done them or not. So anyway, consciousness, spirituality, it's stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about juicy things. I want to start conversations. If I have any desire to grow an audience on my YouTube channel for any one reason or the other, and I were to kind of write my own story and design a target audience, I guess, around my interests. That's my interest. Spirituality, consciousness, human expression of emotion through our physical bodies, our form, our body language, facial expression, mostly facial expression. Body language, that's dealing with like the figure, the human figure, and I just don't know. I'm overwhelmed when it comes to the human figure. I want to do more like life drawing classes for sure, but it's expensive. It's just a really in-depth subject that I will probably explore more when I get older and I just have more time. Right now, I'm trying to keep it simple. Like I said, doesn't matter what you draw, it just matters that you draw. And part of that is the KISS principle. Keep it simple. Keep it stupid simple. Keep it simple, stupid. And that's just a methodology and a philosophy of, it's really easy to get overwhelmed. Like I just said, I'm overwhelmed by the figure. It's just so complex. It's really easy to mess up and make it not look good. And it's hard to focus and concentrate and observe what you're seeing in front of you and try and translate that. You know, it's a worthy endeavor. I'm not saying that it's not worth the effort. It's just not where I'm at. You know, I'm trying to keep it simple. It's the more complex you get, the more friction is introduced. And I've talked about friction before, and I forget what book I read it from, but friction is, it might be The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It might be Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a book about habits that talks about this concept of friction. And friction is basically what is getting in the way of you in a certain habit or activity. So like positively, you can increase the amount of friction in between you and a habit you want to get rid of, a bad habit. And in a subtractive way, so that's like adding friction intentionally to your routine in order to eliminate a bad habit. Subtractive friction that will have a positive benefit to increase habits that you want to pick up would be like, for instance, me buying this camera. This is a Pocket 3, a DJI Pocket 3. It's a built-in gimbal. I'm looking at it right now, and I have this like viewing screen that's just attached to it, forward-facing, and then I've got this microphone that it wirelessly syncs up to. I just have to turn this on, turn that on, and they're automatically hooked up, which reduces friction on like 3 different levels, right? So I have image stabilization and leveling with the gimbal, and it's just set up on my desk permanently. I can easily detach it. See, I can just detach it and carry it around, and it'll just follow me around. It's got face recognition. Let's see if I can start the face recognition. It's detecting my face, and now it'll just follow my face. That's really cool. That's just kind of like a perk. That's not really a friction thing. The friction things are, I now no longer have to, okay, I want to take that track off. Okay, I don't have to plug in a transmitter for my microphone and fiddle around with that and plug it in and take up a port on my camera or my phone, which I was using. There's unlimited friction using your phone. I mean, it's just insane how much friction you can have on your phone, just because there's a lot of distractions and those add to the friction. What else? The gimbal, yeah, it's just another thing to attach. So anyway, friction, you want it when you're trying to get rid of a habit. You don't want it when you're trying to pick up a new habit, because it's hard to pick up a new habit. So you need to make it as easy as possible. And if you make it hard on yourself, you're less likely to do it. So I'm trying to reduce friction by having a dedicated video camera so I can make more drawing videos, so I can take it out into the world, collect some B-roll. Yeah, so that's where we're at with that friction. Think about ways you could reduce friction in your life to allow you to do the things you want to do, namely creating more, because we know there's resistance. Like, some people just naturally tap into creative energy and just get right down to work, and they can pick it up and drop it and pick it right back up where they left off the next day. That's not me. Maybe that's not you either. And if it isn't, figure out your system and identify the pain points. For me, the pain points were fiddling around with technology, not having a permanent setup, having to start from scratch with every day that I'm wanting to create something, whether it's video content or even just painting for commission for myself. Having a consistent setup that doesn't take long to get into, like the startup time is virtually non-existent. That's the goal, for me at least. This is getting to be a hot mess, and that's not what I want. I don't really know what I'm doing at this point. So I'm probably just gonna like wrap it up soon. I've been kind of rambling anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make more content. Like I said, I don't make as much as I want, and I want to improve that. So I bought this camera. I'm investing time into figuring out a setup for this desk. Let me show you again. This is my desk setup. So I've got this canvas light with my phone recording top down, and it's got a built-in light. And then it's just drawing on this desk like that. And then I've got, this is where my camera was connected to. This is where I do my daily drawing, so I got my sketchbook and my journal there. I've got this light set up. I've got the soundproof paneling and everything, and I've got this window for natural light. So that's kind of like my key light, and then this is like my fill light, if you know anything about film. Anyway, that's enough of that rambling around. This drawing is not anything special. I'm kind of just doodling as I'm chatting, and that's kind of what I want to do. So if you're really like opposed to that, if you're like, this is shitty content, let me know. Let me know in the comments if you think this is shitty content or not, or if you just like the sound of my voice and you just like seeing some stuff. Let's keep it rolling. I'm at 8% on my battery life of my camera. We've been rolling for like 25, 26 minutes. Let's just do like 5 more minutes of doodling. Something that I like to do when I don't know what to doodle is just scribbles. For some reason, I love drawing a box. I love just drawing a shape, giving it a nice little kind of loose, abstract border like this. I don't even know what this is. I just like drawing these shapes, and so I do. Find out what you like and do that. That's the secret of being a prolific artist. It's not about setting an external goal and pushing yourself towards that. It's find out what you naturally have a proclivity to pursue. So for me, it's faces, it's squiggly lines. I just like loose, rough lines. And I like these abstract signatures. I think signatures are a really beautiful thing. You know, when you just see somebody flow across the paper with their signature, like my name I'll write like that, and it's kind of like a work of art in its own, you know? I cough. I'm still working on that signature. But sometimes I just like to do an abstract signature, so I'll just draw myself a box, and I'll just be like those aren't even letters. That's not even words. And I do this on like all of my daily drawings. I'll like have a box there. It's kind of like a through point. It's like a continuity thing. They just are like hieroglyphs. They're like, they could be letters. You know how people just like write really fast and it's like a scribble? It's like kind of the same thing. And it's really fun. And there's no pressure because it's not like you're spending a lot of time designing it or like thinking of what to do. You're literally just, you know. And like sometimes there'll be like repeated shapes and they look really similar. Like these kind of look similar. These look really similar. That kind of looks like a hybrid. So anyway, I'll draw a little box just to give like a little bit of a compositional weight to a drawing. It's nice to have like a signature box, you know, like in like Japanese art, they would have like those scrolls to the right. Japanese, Chinese, like Eastern art will have a lot of that kind of, you know, like vertical signature stuff on the side, and it kind of adds to the composition of the image, which I think is really cool. And there's no rules. You can do whatever you want. So maybe we will finish up with just a little face. Let's do a couple of these faces. I like to write my name and turn it into a face. So we got like the cheeks. Got a nose, maybe a big old chin, a hairline. So like the name is kind of like the eyes, if that makes sense. And I don't touch the text because I want it to be easily legible even after I draw this image around it. His ears are lower than they would be. It's very cartoony for sure. And that's pretty much it. Something like that. Got 5%. We better hurry up. We'll do one more down here. Let's do a big old boy. I'm still working on this concept. You know, I just started doing this within the last year or so. And I'm planning on maybe doing some like graffiti tags of this around town. It's kind of risky because like my name is my brand and I wouldn't be taking on a new moniker, which a lot of graffiti artists do. I would just be using my brand name. So like I would be illegally painting places and just signing my name. I don't know. There's something kind of cool about that though. Something kind of bold. That sounds fun. We'll do kind of like a balding guy. And this is just kind of fun. You get to like kind of create new characters every time. And it's kind of spontaneous. Like I don't have a plan from the beginning. It's just, I'm just going for it. Maybe a big thick neck. And maybe we got like a t-shirt. Something like that. So, you know, that's it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Kind of talked out. I'll be back soon. So if you want to subscribe, definitely leave a comment. You don't have to like it. If you hate it, just let me know either way. If you like it, if you hate it, if you're neutral, if you're like, I watched this video and was affected 0%, I can't even really tell if I watched it, let me know that too. Okay? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.